Looks like another no to low cooling call. The client in question turned the air conditioner on overnight as it was a little stuffy and did not really ever seem to bring the temperature down. She said it was blowing out cool to room temperature air. As to whether or not the outdoor unit was running, it was nighttime, so she did not check, and she gave us a call on her way to work this morning, so wasn't able to really confirm whether it was operating out there or not. But she should be home momentarily, so we'll stop by and see if we can figure it out for her. It sounds like fan motor and compressor. I can kind of hear the compressor making its typical little whiny sound down there. So let's check the refrigerant and see what's going on. It's blowing out cool air to the touch, which should be either warmish or hot compared to ambient, depending on the outside temperature. We have very low to zero refrigerant. I'm showing a -9 on the suction and a 5 on the head side. So we're going to add a little nitrogen to this guy and see if we can hear a leak, since it's pretty major, if you can hear me over the fire truck. So upon coming up in the attic, after adding some pressure to this unit, I could actually hear it downstairs. But you can hear this guy leaking. So in this particular case, we will be ordering her a coil. This unit looks to be serial number about 2014, so it's probably out of warranty. But we'll try to get her a coil and get her taken care of. This guy, you'll weigh him and hand me that sandpaper and one of my, probably the smaller cutters. And again, these guys don't, you're not trying to rapidly cut it. It's just slow time and pressure. The slower you cut it, the less of a burr you end up with. HVAC right along where the wires meet the flame. Fixing up the systems ain't no two jobs the same. Turn away, shift flow. Learn where you belong. You'll find your spark on HVAC right along. In the crawl space is tight, on rooftops where we stray. He stands by his path and his wisdom leads the way. Even when it's blowing, all the winds are strong. They say this is the life. HVAC right along. Sure. HVAC right along where the wires meet the flame. Fixing up the systems ain't no two jobs the same. Turn away, check the flow. Learn where you belong. You'll find your spark on HVAC right along.
the skills to climb and the guts to will. From the ducts to vents, I'll make it right. An HVAC hero working day and night. From the sound whisper, I hear it's clean, making homes cozy for you and me. Turn screw tight with precision heat. A rising tech chasing destiny. I'll cool the heat and fire up the chill. Got the skills to climb and the guts to will. From the ducts to vents, I'll make it right. An HVAC hero working day and night.
I'll go put some pressure on it for you, sir.
I'll put some bubbles.
That little guy when they actually put high pressure on it.
That ain't gonna do nothing, but look at that, it's leaking. You can just tell from the way it boils, you know? Can I just see the action? A little bit of this action right here. It ain't bubbling. That was good too. Sorry, man. I just had to fight to the death of the door.
Oh, no problem.
Because this nub was in the way, and then the drain wouldn't. The drain's like rubbing on the door, perfect amount.
So we're losing vacuum, or gaining pressure, rather. So we have a leak somewhere, my friend. Oh, we got a Schrader that's, a cap that's completely loose right here, too. Looks like we're still holding pressure. We let Jacob know that it was likely this true section Schrader core that was leaking. So we're going to let this sit for another 15 minutes, give or take, and make sure it continues to hold pressure. If it does, we'll restart our vacuum, and hopefully this time around we'll be good to go. Yeah, it looks better. Pulling down a little bit now. What's 140 ounces divided by 16?
8.7. No.
You're actually right. It's 8.6, 8.7, something like that.
60 divided by, wait, you said 100?
140.
140, yeah. 8.7.
8.7 pounds. What's
7, I got you. 0.7 times 16, 11 ounces.
So 8 pounds, 11 ounces.
Yep.
So we're just going to let this ambiently pull in with the vacuum as much as it will. And then being that it was it a piston or a TXV up there?
Piston.
Okay, so how do we charge a piston?
Superheat.
All right, so once we get it close to manufacturer specs, we'll turn it on and check it on superheat and top it up completely off, and we'll be done. We're at 60 degrees outside, so we are showing a low vapor saturation point. It's a little below freezing. Our suction pressure is a little low, but I don't really want to drop our superheat any lower. The inside temperature is about 63 degrees, so being we're cold inside and cold outside, we're going to leave it here for now, and I'll let her give us a call back if we need to come back and top it back off. But with a superheat approaching zero, I'm afraid we'll start liquid slugging, even though our pressure's not up and our temperature's not necessarily where we'd want it, but that's likely due to how cold we are right now. So for the moment, we'll call it done. That one was a fairly straightforward coil replacement. The only real issues we did have a little bit of a leak. Oddly enough, doing our pressure test, did not see any drop in pressure. However, when we were doing our vacuum test, we actually saw a rise in pressure, so we were not able to attain the vacuum we were looking for. And that can happen, oddly enough. You wouldn't think so. That's why we check them both with pressure and with vacuum. This particular case, Jacob went upstairs to double check his work and all the little joints on the indoor unit. However, on the outside, I just happened to look at that true suction line and think, you know, we haven't been the only ones that have worked on this, I'm sure. And sure enough, the little cap over the Schrader core was not even finger tight, so the gasket was not compressed, not sealing, and the little Schrader core was leaking. So we tightened that up. Sometimes you can take a screwdriver or your Schrader tool and pop that valve in a little bit and let it reseat, and that's all you need sometimes. We went ahead when we left and put some new brass caps on it with some good O-rings, just to double check and make sure we didn't have any issues in the future. But got it all taken care of. Refrigerant charge on that one, it did call for, I believe it was 8.6 pounds. The unit was almost directly above us. It was within the line set recommendations for that unit. Being as chilly as it is outside, it's only 60 degrees out there right now still. Inside her house, it was around 63, 62 degrees. So we put in the required amount of refrigerant. Our vapor saturation point was a little low, our suction pressure was a little low, but our superheat was correspondingly a little low, and that's likely just due to our temperatures at the moment. So once we get a warmer day, we may run back over and double check that for her, but more than likely everything's okay. Don't know if you happen to notice, but that coil on the inside was a micro-channel coil. So instead of being the standard fin and tube, where you have the copper tubes or aluminum tubes running back and forth through the fins, this one actually had ribbons running from manifolds on either side of that coil, and the ribbon ran through a little web of fin material back down the other side to the other manifold. Those, the inside of those ribbons, you have what you call micro channels. So they're little tiny little holes essentially that your refrigerant flows through. They can make the units more energy efficient. They definitely drop the required refrigerant charge. I've seen some of those AirTemp units in the past. That one was a fin and tube outside, but a micro channel inside coil. I've run across them several times where they're micro channel on both sides. The interesting thing about those, where that unit held going on 9 pounds of refrigerant, a comparable, even made by the same manufacturer unit with a micro channel coil may hold somewhere around 5 to 6 pounds of refrigerant. So it does fairly dramatically drop the required refrigerant amount. However, at the same time, it also makes it so that a few ounces makes a huge difference on those. So you definitely have to use a gauge set similar to what we have, being able to check the subcooling and superheat, because you can just miss that charge by barely a little bit and change things dramatically. And I've come across several service calls where other service companies have gone out and they've either overcharged it a little bit or undercharged it a little bit and can't figure out what's wrong with it, and that was entirely it. They either just put 1 or 2 ounces too much or too little refrigerant in it. But all in all, that one went fairly smoothly, and we'll move along and see what else we can find to get into today. Hopefully something fun, and we'll go from there.